worldly desires, like a desert scorched by the sun. The holy name entering within my heart through the holes of my ears showers unparalleled nectar upon my soul.
The holy name speaks from within my heart, moves on the tip of my tongue, and constantly dances on it in the form of transcendental sound. My throat becomes choked up, my body violently trembles, and my feet move uncontrollably.
Rivers of tears flow from my eyes. Perspiration pours from my body. My body thrills with rapture, causing my hair to stand on end and my skin to turn pale and discolored. My mind grows faint, and I begin to experience devastation. My entire body is shattered in a flood of ecstasies.
While causing such an ecstatic disturbance, the holy name showers liquid nectar on my heart and drowns me in the ocean of divine love of Godhead. He does not allow me to understand anything, for he has made me truly mad and has stolen my heart and all my wealth.
Such is the behavior of him who is now my only shelter. I am not capable of describing all this. The holy name of Krishna is independent and thus acts at his own sweet will. In whatever way he becomes happy, that is also my way of happiness.
The holy name is the bud of the flower of divine love, the abode of devotion's wonderful mellows. Such is the power that he manifests, that although he displays his power only slightly, he reveals his own form and qualities, steals my heart, and takes it to Krishna.
Being fully manifest, the holy name takes me to Raja and reveals to me his own love dalliance. He gives to me my own divine eternal body, keeps me near Krishna, and completely destroys this mortal frame of mine.
The name of Krishna is touchstone, a mine of all devotional mellows, eternally liberated and the embodiment of pure rasa. When all impediments to pure chanting of the holy name are taken away and destroyed, then my happiness will know its true awakening.
Krishna naam dhare kotaba, vishaya vasana nale, murachita sada jale, ravi tapta marubhumi sam. Harishoya sudhanupam, hridaya hoite bale, jivara grite chale, shabda rupe nache anukshan, kanthe mor bhange swar, angakan pe thar thar, sthira hoite na pare charan, chakshidhara dehe gharma, pulakita sab charma,
देवना होइलो कालेवार मूर्छिता होइलो मन प्रलयेर आगमन भावे सर्वदेह जार जार होरिये तो उपद्रव चित्ते वर्षे सुधा द्रव मोरे डारे पे मेरा सागरे किछु ना बुझिते दिल मोरे तो बातुला कइलो मोर चित्त वित्त सबहरे नोइनो आश्रय जार हेनो व्यवहार तार मानिते न पारी हे सकाल कृष्ण नाम इच्छामय जाहे जाहे सुखी होय सेई मोर सुखेर संभार प्रेमेरा कलिका नाम अद्भुत रसेर धाम हेनो बलकारये प्रकाश ईशात विकोशी पूर्ण देखाय निज रूप गुण चित्तहारी लोया कृष्ण पार पूर्ण विकसित होया ब्रज मोर जाय लोया देखाय मोर स्वरूप विलास मोर सिद्ध देह दिया कृष्ण पाश राखे गिया हे देहेर कोरे सर्वनाश कृष्ण नाम चिंतामणि अखिल रसेर खानि नित्य मुक्त शुद्ध रसमय नामेरा बलाई जाता सबलोए होय हाता तबे मोर सुखेरा उदय कृष्ण नाम धारे कोटबा कृष्ण नाम धारे कोटबा
Next, we have a session by Yamuna Jivana Prabhu. So I'd like to hand it over to him now, whenever he is ready.
Do you need harmonic precision?
I'm playing No, I just play Karta.
Oh, okay. Oh, so someone else will play it.
If somebody else is available. be nice. Thank you. Are you going to leave after? Are you going to leave after Kirtan? Yeah. No, Kirtan. Are you going to say something? Okay, because I might need some help with getting the stuff on the corner there. Later, not now. Stand. Hare Krishna. I just want to, before you both leave, just amazing that young ladies are maintaining the culture of the Vedic culture, that you're maintaining that I was just moved by that. But not only that, the way you dedicated it to Krishna and the holy name was just outstanding. And to do it with a live, I don't know how you guys practice without Shri Rupa with you, but to do it with a live playing of the music and you were still synchronized, that was fantastic, really. So thank you. Now the boring part. So chant Jai Radha Madhav. Oh, you're here. I have a feeling your mother asked you to be here. No? No? Okay. Thank you for being here. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Vanachari Yamuna Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Vanachari Yamuna Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anant Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Samvita Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanande Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Srila Rompa Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Deyam sada paribhavagnam abhishtadoham tirtaspadam shivarin chinutam sharanyam Bhrityartihan pranatapala bhavabdipotam Vande mahapurushate charanarvindam. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you very much for being here. It's after breakfast. Hopefully you've had sufficient digestion time before we get to this topic of the Japa journey map. So if you remember yesterday, Maharaj presented the Japa book. He showed a picture of the Japa book and said there are many devotees who have written books on Japa, and that foremost of them, one of the best teachers is Burijan Prabhu. And one of the best books is the Japa book. So last year, I spent, 2 months or so, studying the Japa book very carefully for the 8th or 9th time or something like that. And this time I took like assiduous, meticulous notes. And what surfaced from that experience was a map. I'm a visual person. And so I learn in pictures. And so there was a map that was starting to form in my head of what the Japa journey looks like based on the book. The Japa book itself is based on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who, my goodness, how much nectar he has given us related to the holy name. So much instruction, so many books on the holy name, so many songs on the holy name. The dance was on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a book called Bhajan Rahasya. Rahasya means, anyone know? Rahasya, what it means? Secret. The Bhajan Rahasya, the secrets of bhajan. And I just began studying that book also. It's very intricate. But the Japa book is based on Bhajan Rahasya and based on Shikshashtakam and based on Madhurya Kadambini. So what I'm going to present is not from me necessarily. It's a pictorial view of what my assimilation is of the book and of course studying Madhurya Kadambini and the text as well. Okay. Before we begin, I wanted to make a few comments, and we're going to have, can we have a microphone for Chintamani Mataji? She's going to read a section from Chaitanya Chaitamrita for us, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us real inspiration with this chanting process. How many of us here are householders? How many wish to be householders? How many don't want to do that at all? Okay. So this is specifically, all right, this is a section where the devotees, this is 15th chapter of Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, where the devotees have just completed having this amazing time with Mahaprabhu, okay? The 4 months of the rainy season, they've had this Rath Yatra festival, they've had this very intimate time with Mahaprabhu, and now they're heading back to Bengal. Can you imagine the feeling? Some of you may have attended yatras with your spiritual master, and at the end of the yatra, you're like, I don't really want to go, but I've got to go. And then there may be some last final exchanges with the spiritual master before you leave. Multiply that 150,000 times. And these devotees are approaching Mahaprabhu before they leave. And it's just a beautiful series of exchanges between Mahaprabhu and his devotees. When they came from Bengal, beautiful set of exchanges. And now when they're leaving, there's very sweet set of exchanges. Two devotees, Satyaraj Khan, and who's the other person? Ramananda Rai? Okay. I thought Ramananda Rai stayed with him, but okay, Ramananda Rai and Satyaraj Khan approach Mahaprabhu and they're asking a question. Now keep in mind, the context is being in householder life. So, Chintamani. I'll try to put this up here, by the way. Huh? Yeah, please, translation as well. You do the translation, please.
So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 15:102. তবে রামানন্দ আর সত্যরাজ খান প্রভুর চরণে কিছু কইল নিবেদন. After this, Ramananda Vasu and Satyaraj Khan both submitted questions at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. গৃহস্থ বিষয়ী আমি কি মোর সাধনে শ্রীমুখে আজ্ঞা করো প্রভু নিবেদি চরণে. Satyaraj Khan said, "My dear Lord, being a householder and a materialistic man, I do not know the process of advancing in spiritual life. I therefore submit myself unto your lotus feet and request you to give me orders." প্রভু কহেন কৃষ্ণ সেবা বৈষ্ণব সেবন নিরন্তর করো কৃষ্ণ নাম সংকীর্তন. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Without cessation, continue chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. Whenever possible, serve him and his devotees, the Vaishnavas." সত্যরাজ বলে বৈষ্ণব চিনিব কেমনে, কে বৈষ্ণব কহ তার সামান্য লক্ষণে। Upon hearing this, Satyaraj said, "How can I recognize a Vaishnava? Please let me know what a Vaishnava is. What are his common symptoms?" প্রভু কহে যার মুখে শুনি একবার, কৃষ্ণ নাম সেই পূজ্য শ্রেষ্ঠ সবাকার। Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Whoever chants the holy name of Krishna just once is worshipable and is the topmost human being." এক কৃষ্ণ নামে করে সর্ব পাপ ক্ষয়, নববিধা ভক্তিপূর্ণ নাম হইতে হয়। Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all the reactions of a sinful life. One can complete the 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting the holy name. দীক্ষা পুরশ্চর্যা বিধি অপেক্ষা না করে, জিহ্বা স্পর্শে আচণ্ডালে সবারে উদ্ধারে। One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus, even a man in the lowest class, Chandal, can be delivered. Scrolling down. অনুসঙ্গ ফলে করে সংসারেরও ক্ষয়, চিত্ত আকর্ষিয়া করায় কৃষ্ণ প্রেমোদয়। By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one dissolves his entanglement in material activities. After this, one becomes very much attracted to Krishna, and thus dormant love for Krishna is awakened. So this one's in Sanskrit. Akrishti krita chetasam sumanasa uchchatanam chamhasa achandalam amukha sulabho vasyascha mukti shriya no diksham na cha satkriyam na cha purascharya managikshate mantroyam rasana sprigeva falati Sri Krishna namatmaka. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly liberal people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reactions and is so powerful that save for the dumb who cannot chant it, it is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandal. The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. When a person simply chants the holy name with his tongue, immediate effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the Purascharya regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities. It is self-sufficient. অতএব যার মুখে এক কৃষ্ণ নাম, সেই তো বৈষ্ণব করিহ তাহারও সমান। Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then finally advised, one who is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is understood to be a Vaishnava. Therefore, you should offer all respects to him.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. She has to do some service, cooking for Maharaj, so she's going to have to leave. But thank you so much for being here with us. Beautiful, no? The recitation. And the key message there was just how powerful the holy name is from Mahaprabhu's perspective. He's trying to teach that to the householder, Satyaraj Khan. He said 2 things. What were the two things? The most important things for a householder? Do you remember? Chanting the holy name, and the second one was? Serve the Vaishnavas. Yeah. All right, in the attempt to serve Vaishnavas, we're going to be talking about chanting the holy name. The journey map of Japa. I'm going to read for you a definition of journey. What does journey mean? The journey through life is filled with wonder, challenges, broken hearts, extreme highs and lows, celebrations, special moments, and memories that define our experience as a human. It is these events, planned or unexpected, that impact our travels and define our purpose. So all of that one experiences in the journey of one's Japa journey. The map I'm going to show you only ends at the stage of Nishtha, because there may be some wonderful, highly elevated souls in this group, but I can speak for myself at least. Having Nishtha as a near or medium stage goal is good enough. If I can get to Nishtha, that's cool. In fact, it is said that our journey, I assume everyone here knows the 9 stages of bhakti by Rupa Goswami. And if you don't, just maybe show you a raise of hand and we'll quickly explain it. But the 9 stages of bhakti, you get to Nishtha and then it's downhill from there, meaning it becomes easier. The path is more natural, just flows without necessarily conscious grunting effort, right? In corporate America, there is a lot of jargons, and we learn so much from corporate America, actually. One of the things we learn is, you don't want to die on that hill, it is said. What does that mean? Don't want to die on a hill. Meaning, most arguments or discussions that you try to win an argument is trying to go uphill, especially when I'm dealing with a situation, I'm trying to convince my boss's boss to do something differently. And then my boss told me, don't die on that hill. Like, don't even waste your time, because it's uphill. The initial stages of bhakti is going uphill. And then once you get to Nishtha, then it's kind of like going downhill. So we'll only talk up to Nishtha, the stage of steady faith, steady chanting. And in the Japa book, the stage of Nishtha is a stage where one has taken shelter of the holy name, also known as Namashraya. Ashraya, having taken shelter of the holy name. How does our journey begin? By the way, I only have one slide. Only one slide. We're just going to go through one slide for the rest of the time together. Again, corporate training, you tell a story with one slide. So we're just going to try to do that, okay? So there's a lot of intricate information in here, and I hope your eyesight is good. For those of you in the back, we'll see what happens. So our journey begins with what's known as Adav Shraddha. What is Adav Shraddha? Shraddha is faith, right? And Adav is the initial or beginning faith. It's like the blossoming of faith. So we often hear the seed of bhakti is given by the devotees. And what is that seed of bhakti? It's 2 things. It's number 1 is faith. It's Shraddha. In what? In scripture. Shastriya Shraddha. According to Jiva Goswami, that's what he explains. Jiva Goswami also explains that it's also, that seed is mati, or that inclination to serve Krishna. That internal shift of consciousness that says, there's something beyond the rigmarole of material life. I want to achieve something higher. I know I had that when I was a kid. There's something beyond this. In fact, I don't know if I shared with my sister, but when I was a kid, I remember looking myself in a mirror and thinking, are you God? Do you remember? Did I tell you that? And then I came to the conclusion that I'm not. Because my intellect said, if I was God, I would know it. So therefore, since I'm questioning that whether I'm God, therefore I'm not God. That makes sense? That was a 8-year-old boy or something like that. Maybe your age, I don't remember. So it's that inclination, that little bit of shift within the heart where we say there's something higher, I want to go towards that. Adho Shraddha. And then when we start to associate with devotees, this is a stage of sadhu sangha, there's two types of faith. Jiva Goswami explains this, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this in two different Sanskrit terms. Jiva Goswami says there's Shastriya Shraddha and there's Laukika Shraddha. Laukika means worldly faith. Or you could say, I join the movement and start my japa practice because others around me are doing the same. Or some forceful, or you could say persuasive preaching of a devotee. So I don't know if you can see the text below there. So the top two, the two bullets there, number one is Shastriya Shraddha and Laukika Shraddha, where you are persuaded by someone else to sort of take up the path of bhakti. Guess which one is stronger? Shastriya Shraddha is stronger. Because Laukika Shraddha is that kind of Shraddha is based on acceptance and validation from external sources. So sometimes you'll see people who take up the chanting process, sometimes when they get into conflicts with other people, they stop the chanting. And they stop chanting. Why do they stop chanting? Because the Shraddha is on the more ephemeral side. It's the Laukika Shraddha. It's the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uses different terms. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uses Swabhaviki Shraddha and Balat Utpadita Shraddha. Swabhaviki means it's very internal to you. And Balat Utpadita Shraddha is meaning by the force of some external person kind of convincing you. So a test of what Shraddha one might have is based on when we get into conflicts with devotees, does that impact our chanting or does that enhance our chanting? If it's Shastriya Shraddha, it'll enhance one chanting because now where do you go? You're having conflict with the devotee. Now what do you do? Right? You take shelter of the holy name. Now what is devotee association? Sadhu Sangha. So according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and I keep referring to acharyas, maybe I should stop doing that so it's less distracting. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Rupa Goswami both say there's three qualities of what is devotee association. Devotee association is not just hanging out and talking about the weather and how Trump's doing wonderful things for the world and things like that. That's not devotee association. According to these great acharyas, there's three facets that make association of devotee association. Number one, snigdhasya. There's an affectionate relationship. Foundational, affectionate relationship. Number two, sajatya, like-mindedness. And number three, vara. Vara means they're better than me, they're great, they are more accomplished than me, they have certain realizations and insights that they can give me. And that is called sadhu sangha. So that's the last bullet there. Affection, light-mindedness, and someone who's more realized. This is the stage in sadhu sangha is where we hear about Shikshashtakam 1. So we'll chant the verse together. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamahadavagni virvapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam Anandamudivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. In Shikshashtakam 1, we learn about 7 glories of the holy name. That gets us started with Bhajana Kriya. In the association of devotees, with like-minded, with affectionate, and people who are more realized and insightful than us, have now taught us Shikshashtakam 1, the glories of the holy name. And we start to begin our journey with Japa. I'll tell you my story. I may have shared this before, but how I started Japa was, I was associating with devotees and they would tell me to chant Japa. And I would think, you chant Japa, leave me alone. I had this rebellious attitude to myself. Still do. And it didn't happen until I started to hear the glories of the holy name. And then there was one class I remember specifically, this might have been very early 2000s, I heard Sri Rompa Swami speak on Haridas Thakur and the glories of the holy name. I think Shikshashtakam 1 was actually mentioned in that class. And after that, nobody had to tell me to chant. I went to the devotee who was persuading me prior, and I went to say, please, can I get some beads? And started my japa practice. And I started with 2 things, reading a verse of the Bhagavad Gita and 2 rounds of japa every day. Just made it a habit. And within 2 weeks, I found amazing things happen in my life. My mother and my sister were intent on becoming vegetarians. They became vegetarians. We were not. We didn't grow up vegetarians. And I always looked up to them like, wow, these guys are just amazing. They have such willpower to become vegetarians. And I wanted to. And it happened for about 24 hours when I was in college. And that was it. But when I started to chant the Hare Krishna mantra within 2 weeks, that was it. I never looked at meat eating again. I look back. So what I realized is this chanting is giving me some inner strength that I couldn't access before. It wasn't coming from me. It was some external, energy that was giving me strength. And that was my experience at the very beginning of Bhajana Kriya. So let's take a little bit of a break here and turn to the person next to you and discuss in less than 3 minutes, 3 minutes or so, we can extend it, we'll see how it's going, about how your beginning journey with the chanting started. How did you start chanting the Hare Krishna mantra? Okay, I assume everyone's chanting here. If you're not, then oh well. Eighteen, 14, 15, 16. 30 seconds left. Oh, really? I think he can help me with it. But thank you. Oh, 11:50. I only have to 12:30. I have to 12:30. Oh, never mind. Yeah, sounds like an alarm clock, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Got to know one another a little better, right? How our japa started. So let's go a little deeper into this stage of bhajana kriya. During this stage of bhajana kriya, we start to develop an internal purpose, a purpose for which we need to live life. It's very beautiful. Prabhupada explains in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that without a goal of life, one cannot be happy. And so we start to build a purpose to life. Shri Rupa was asking a question this morning or yesterday? Or yesterday about purpose. And our purpose becomes more refined and more focused and more intense as we go along the japa journey. But it also goes through ups and downs. So if you note, the subtitle of this map says, the meandering journey of faith, love, and humility. So meandering means it's not a straight line. It's kind of like... So our purpose, we'll notice that our purpose kind of goes up and down. It becomes intense sometimes and kind of weakens other times. Yes? But at this stage, we're just starting to build a purpose in life. We're starting to get a goal. Oh, I have a goal in life. And it's nice. When I first met my wife, she said, my goal in life to be a CEO of Microsoft. She's almost there. But we totally shift. Right? And then we start this practice of trying to bring the mind back. It's a practice. We keep trying to bring the mind back. And if we bring the mind back once or twice, the entire japa cycle, we're like, oh, that's pretty good. Right? We don't realize how distracted we are until we try to be attentive. And then we start to practice detachment, maybe sometimes a little too much with utsaha mai. We push out more than we should in our life. Family, for example, friends. And then we start to get glimpses of strength. I mentioned the glimpse of strength that I got when I was... you don't need to take pictures. You can wait till the end. There's only one slide, I told you. So this is going to keep building out. And you get glimpses of strength, peace, right? You start chanting, it's like feeling a little bit of peace. And Krishna. Bhurijan Prabhu explains in the Japa book, 2 years after he started chanting Japa, he suddenly heard, oh my, Krishna's name. I got Krishna's name. It's so powerful, so sweet. I had a very similar experience. I remember where it was. It was in the basement of this townhome we were living in St. Louis. And I had been chanting for several months by then. And all of a sudden I heard Krishna's name. It's like, oh, Krishna. That was really nice. That was sweet. That was beautiful. And then it was gone. Poof, it was gone. It's like how Krishna appeared to Narada Muni and then he was left. He left. So we get these little glimpses of Krishna. May I ask you to be a little vulnerable and share with me, how many of you have experienced that little glimpse of Krishna? That little sweetness of the name. Bhajana Kriya, you start to get that. Okay. And then we continue on the journey. And then we see things like no taste. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains why we have no taste. The Shikshashtakam 2, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this is the next phase in the journey. By the way, we're only going to get to Shikshashtakam 3, that's it. We're going to end with Shikshashtakam 3 today. So, Mahaprabhu says, Nam namakari bauda nija sarva shakti tatrarpita niyamata smarane nakala etadrashi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdeva midrshamiha jani nanuragaha. I have no taste. The holy name is so powerful, so beautiful, so sweet, so inviting, so loving, so kind. For me, I have no taste. Why? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us 4 reasons why we don't have taste. A symptom of not having taste is when we complete 16 rounds, there's a sense of relief. It's a daily uphill battle. Got to 16. Finally. So this funny joke of Prabhupada's, right? He had a devotee next to him and he was chanting, Prabhupada was chanting, Hare Krishna, and he pulled his last bead and he said, now I can do any damn thing I want. Shoo! No taste. There's a symptom of no taste. And the symptom of taste is you don't want to stop. So why is there no taste? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there's 4 things. The first one, Tattva Sandarbha. Tattva Vibhrama. Vibhrama. Brahma means mistaken. Different than Brahma, Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is certainly not mistaken. That's Lord Brahma. There's Brahma, B-H. Brahma means mistake or confusion. Vibhrama means totally bewildered. Tattva Vibhrama means totally bewildered about reality. Tattva. We struggle with this one. Why is that? We have a difficulty accepting reality as it is. We have an inherent difficulty. I mean, that's why we came to the material world. Our philosophy explains that our inability to accept reality, which is Krishna is at the center and I'm not, is the very reason we're here. That we have these material bodies that we're struggling with. So this Tattva Vibhrama is at the root of our problem, actually. We struggle with understanding that I'm insignificant, for example. There are many facets to Tattva Vibhrama. One of them is that I am ordinary and insignificant. I remember hearing this one class. Vedavyas Priya Swami Maharaj said, we're very ordinary people. Are you okay with that? And I blew my mind. I was thinking like, really? For the rest of my life, I'm just going to be ordinary? Am I okay with that? It's been a journey for the last 10 years, trying to be ordinary and be okay with being ordinary. But, we have these desires to be glamorous, famous, accepted, respected. Those internal things that just drive us, that prevent us from having taste. That the world should revolve around me. The weather should revolve around me. My kids should revolve around me. My spouse, that's usually the toughest one, should revolve around me. My colleagues, my friends should revolve around me. Like I am the center of the universe. Didn't you know that? And we struggle with it. It's like it stays there. Maharaj was talking about it today, right? Self-centeredness. It's just like we're stuck with it. So that's Tattva Vibhrama. We're not the center of the universe. We get squished by time so easily, and 100 years from now, who will remember our name? Who will remember? Say 200 years from now, who will remember? How long will this earth last? Anyone know? How long will the earth last? A few billion years at least. And out of that, 200 years is what percentage of 2 billion? And we won't even live 200 years. So, what is our significance? We get stuck with this idea that our lives are significant. We are significant. So, Tattva Vibrama. And then that's with us. Then how do we see others? Tattva Vibrama is mistaking others' identity. We think people to be their bodies and their mind. So if somebody is, let's say, insulting us, we see the insult, we don't see the pain behind the insult. Because behind insult is pain. Or behind criticism is struggle. And behind struggle is a person who has lost connection with Krishna. So we miss to see that. We only see the surface stuff. We get caught up in the surface stuff. So sometimes when somebody may criticize us, we may think, don't they know who I am? They probably don't know who you are, and most likely we don't know who we are either. That's part of the problem. Bhurijan Prabhu says this is very beautiful. We're eternal servants of Krishna, and we miss out on this intrinsic relationship, and we suffer two things: existential emptiness and incurable loneliness. I'll say it again. Existential emptiness and incurable loneliness without Krishna. We try to not be lonely, so we find partners, we find friends, and then there's still that pinch in the heart that says, I'm not fully understood. Isn't it? There's a relationship lacking here. There's something that's not fulfilling me completely. Prabhupada would say there's a prick in the heart. There's a pinprick in society in general. That pinprick in society starts with our own heart. So this is all Tattva Vibrama. Not having proper understanding of who others are, who we are. And then Tattva Vibrama is also not understand Krishna's dominance, Krishna's controllership, Krishna's power. When things are going all awry and off the side of the road, and we're like, but Krishna's in control. We forget. The second one of why there's no taste. It is thirst for the temporary. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that we like material comforts. Nice hotels, decent beds, right? Good temperature in the room. As the summer is raging in Chicago, for the first time I'm experiencing summer to this extent. I've never experienced Chicago this hot. It's really hot, right? Maximum 5 days of greater than 90 degrees. It's been 15 days of greater than 90 degrees, and it's just keep going. And we just began July. I was thinking, just 250 years ago, how did people live without air conditioners? What is that? There were trees. Even under the trees, it can be very humid and tough to manage. We're so used to these material comforts, isn't it? Our bank balance, you look at the bank balance, you see sufficient money, a little bit of comfort. People are not criticizing me today. I'm comfortable. There's no tension in my relationships. We become people pleasers. I'm comfortable. Material comforts. A second idea of thirst for the temporary, heavenly pleasures. Nice prasadam. Making sure to go to the temple when there's paneer. Sexual delights. fancy homes and cars. When I take Japa walks around neighborhoods in America here, I just marvel at how big homes are. And usually during the day, they're only keeping one thing cool, the dog, because everybody else is at work. Right? I mean, the homes are so huge, especially in the suburbs here in Naperville. You see, like, the opulence is just amazing. We look for amazing opulence, nice cars, that have the fanciest gadgets. Of course, now Tesla sales are going down, but then people are buying other ones. Enchanting vacations, Hawaii, heavenly pleasures. These are all part of this Asat Trishna. And then another feature of Asat Trishna is mystic potencies, trying to control things. Like the mystic potency of trying to control my husband, looking at him a certain way, or my wife, make sure he, cleans up after himself. I have some experience with this, obviously. I don't think I'm going to get food tomorrow. Asat Trishna is also freedom from suffering. We want freedom from suffering, or moksha. And then the third one, so we're just getting started here, you get the point, right? Why we don't have taste. Next one is Hridaya Dorbalyam, weakness of heart. This is a big one. This is attachment to things that we know we shouldn't be attached to, we're still attached to. Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses the phrase Tuchha Sakti. Tuchha means dirty. Asakti means attachment to. Attachment to Tuchha, things that are dirty. And most people, not everyone, most people have some secret attachments to unwholesome stuff that we keep in our back pocket. And you know when it gets inflamed? When it's stress. When stress goes high, what happens is the worst comes out of us in terms of anger, in terms of the mind getting distracted, numbing activities. And this is where we get in, we have a comfort activity where we go to, which Tuchha Sakti sort of shows us at that point. And that's when we are, mainly when we're stressed. So, one of the messages that Krishna gives us in the Bhagavad Gita is to balance one's life, right? Yukta har viharasya, yukta swapna, sorry, I forget the verse. But balancing eating, sleeping, recreation, and work. Balancing so that we don't get into the stage of being stressed and the worst comes out of us. The second aspect of Hridaya Dorbalyam that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says is there's deceit, kutinati. How many rounds have you chanted? Most of my rounds, it's only been 3. Kutinati. Fault finding, and he says this is the one we should be very, very careful of. Desire for fame. We say desire for fame and we think of maybe something great, like becoming famous like a rock star, a movie star, or a sports star. Not like that, but desire for fame in the sense of even that I be respected. I walk into the room and people say Hare Krishna. And someone doesn't say Hare Krishna and it's like, what happened? Desire for fame is a big one. Sanatana Goswami explains that this desire is the root of all anarthas, actually. And then the last one, of why there's no taste, where it's not, last but not least, aparad. That is offending the devotees, offending the holy name, offending the deity, and so forth. We heard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tell Satyaraj Khan, don't offend devotees, please. They are such special souls who are taking up the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Very special people. Don't offend them. So these are the reasons we don't have taste. Should we stop here or no? Let's keep going, right? This is not a good place to stop. So there's a huge obstacle of no taste. And these are the 4 elements that make it tough. So now the next phase of our journey is anartha nivritti. It's not anartha consciousness, it's anartha nivritti, meaning we're trying to cleanse ourselves of these things. We recognize it, and we try to cleanse ourselves of these things. And a lot of our anartha nivritti is based on this one thing, paying attention to the holy name. Because all of that mountain of stuff with Tattva Vibhrama, Sat Trishna, Hridaya Dorbalyam, and Aparad can all be nullified by this one thing, paying attention to the holy name. I remember one Japa retreat, we were in Gitanagari, and I'm going to be a little dramatic because that's how Maharaj did it. And Maharaj said, that attention will remove anarthas. Don't try to work on it separately. The attention on the holy name will remove anarthas. Okay, so we'll try. How do we pay attention to the holy name? All kinds of mind management things that one engages in. There's 4 different ways that one can try to control the mind and pay attention to the holy name. And the attention is not trying to control the holy name, but trying to receive the holy name, trying to hear the holy name, trying to receive the sound into our hearts. The first one, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, is to beat the mind. You wake up in the morning, you beat the mind with shoes 100 times. And before you go to bed, you take a broomstick and you beat your mind. Now, if you have a, self-esteem issue, then this would make things worse. Don't do it. The second one is pleading with the mind. My dear mind, please, give me a break. Please, so many lifetimes you've been torturing me and making me go here and there, my dear mind. Just calm down for once. The mind doesn't want to calm down. So pleading with the mind. The devotee Raghunath Das Goswami gave this Mana Shiksha, beautiful set of 8 verses where each verse is a plea to the mind. He's begging the mind. I'll share with you this one plea. I have been attached by the gang of my own lust, anger, and so on. They've bound my neck, lust, anger, and these things, with troublesome, dreadful ropes of wicked deeds. I'm being killed. Cry out piteously. Oh, killer of Baka, they're killing me. Please save me. Oh, devotees of the killer of Baka, please save me. That plea, this is the anartha nivritti, means one is trying to remove the anarthas. You're intensely praying to Krishna. And another one is to ignore it. This was Prabhupada's formula. So Prabhupada would tell all his devotees, engage in service 24 hours a day. Get packed up with Krishna, then there's no time for Maya. So sometimes devotees may say, you're very busy. Your life is very busy. We need it. We need to be busy. Otherwise, very easily Maya can take over. And then the last way is to scream for help. Not just pray, scream for help. But to be screaming, you have to feel really desperate. To be really desperate, one needs to be really introspective and be in touch with reality. right? To be in touch with reality, to be truly honest, one has to have some sense of confidence. Because it's very hard to look at anarthas inside without strength. We have to have some courage to look inside. And when we look inside, then we can become desperate. Then we can scream for help. So there's this idea called Meta. Are you familiar with the company Meta? Facebook? They own Facebook. So there's something called metacognition. There's cognition, meaning we have an intellect that we're analyzing stuff and recognizing how, how things work. Then there's metacognition. According to leadership gurus, they explain that metacognition is being able to recognize how my intellect is working. So there's a Shishi Radha Shyam Sundar Ki Jai. I have a sense, I have a ability to see how I am able to think. So the ability to think about our own thinking is called metacognition, and it's a primary feature of leadership. To be able to be a good leader, one needs to be able to be aware of how they're thinking. Metacognition. So some of you in the technology field, so you may know what is data and metadata. You've heard of that? Data and metadata. Metadata is that data that's describing the data. Right? So metadata is more subtle. So I was appreciating how Himangi Mataji was asking the question yesterday, Maharaj, about, sometimes we go through challenges. Actually, we may think it's karma when it's actually Krishna helping us. And Maharaj made the comment that Krishna consciousness, path of Krishna consciousness is very subtle. That we miss what's actually happening because we get caught up with the more external events that are happening. We miss the subtle that Krishna is pulling us towards Him. So metacognition is that ability to see that subtle piece of what's happening in our lives. And anartha-nivritti process is being able to separate ourselves from our own minds. The more we're able to do that, the more successful we can be in anartha-nivritti. I remember I was teaching meditation in a college environment, and we would just, watch your emotion and let it float and those kind of things. One college student, after the meditation session, I'm not my mind. What a realization. I'm not my mind. Anartha-nivritti is about being able to neglect the mind. But before we can neglect the mind, we have to recognize that we are not the mind. We have to sink into a deeper sense of who we are ourselves. So this is the journey of Anartha-nivritti. Okay, so one may think, very good, I'm working on it. I am going to make progress here, right? I get it. I know how to control my mind. These are the 4 things. I'm going to make progress. Practice devotional service for a couple of decades, and guess what? You realize it's a desert. It doesn't get worse. It doesn't get better. It's only getting worse. We recognize even more our impurities. We recognize even more our insignificance. The sense of our inabilities. I can't do this. It's a rude awakening of our own inabilities. This is what's called dark night of the soul. In the 1500s, there was a Catholic priest from Spain, and he called it La Noche Oscura del Alma. La Noche is night. Oscura means dark. Alma means the soul. La Noche Oscura del Alma, the dark night of the soul. And even in Catholicism, by the way, very similar realizations to what we might experience in our Japa journey. It is said that just prior to the dark night of soul, one has experiences of God in a flickering manner. Just like we were talking about Bhajana Kriya, you get glimpses of Krishna. And then it's not steady. When you're trying to become steady, you're trying to have steady experience and realization and relationship with God. and then this dark night of soul happens, where you sink into this deep well of despair. In this state of trying to cross the desert of despair, it's a very challenging time of our lives. We want to be isolated. We take this time for ourselves. We want to figure out, do I want to continue or not? And some leave. In this state of deep despair, some devotees can't handle anymore, and they leave this glorious path of Japa. They miss the fact that Krishna is there and loving them and being by their side. So Bharijan Prabhu explains it this way. Maharaj quoted it yesterday, but I'll say it again because it's really nice to reinforce the message. Many devotees struggle with chanting because before they can take shelter of Krishna's names, they have to travel to the desert of seeing the truth about themselves. That they have little sincerity and no taste. That the mind is uncontrolled and filled with anarthas, and that they have no power to help themselves. This stage is necessary because it convinces us we have nothing to depend on except Krishna's holy name. At this deep, dark state of despair is where one takes true shelter of Krishna. Only when they can understand this fact, they can chant with a full heart. But it is not easy to cross the desert, and some devotees give up before they reach the other side. The last bullet point is very important. Before one can become humble, one has to experience humiliation. Humiliation precedes humility. Being thoroughly embarrassed about our state of affairs is a necessary step to be truly and solidly humble. In this state, even if receive praise, you're very wonderful, you're amazing, it doesn't touch us. Because you have this deep sense of who you really are. And you recognize, and if someone criticizes you, you're like, yeah, actually, you're probably right. Because they only have a fleeting glimpse into my heart. And so you recognize that someone's criticizing you, you're thankful. And someone's praising you, it's actually poison, doesn't help me. Because it's not true. You recognize what's true. It's not reality. And so that state of humility, it is said that a Brahmana sees praise as poison and criticism as nectar. That's how a Brahmana sees these things. Why? Because they've gone through that inner journey. Where they got to that state of despair, they've recognized that they have no other shelter than Krishna. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Jivana anitya janahasar tahe nana vidha vipada bhar. Life is full of miseries. Then, I forget it. Someone help me? Namashaya kori jatane tumi takha apan kaje. Make it your business to take shelter of the holy name. So now that we're actually starting to take shelter of the holy name, what happens? Jivere kalyana sadhana kam jagate yoshye madhuranam avidyati mira tapana rupe ridagagane viraje. That the dawn starts to come. The sun's not risen yet. The dawn starts to come. You see the glimpses of light. This is entering into the stage of Nishtha. We start to experience shelter in Krishna's name, and we know that there's no other shelter. Now we may still be attached because Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva. that prayasha, that not all the abhadras are gone yet. So there's still some stuff left. We're still attached. But we start to see the glimpses of the light. The dawn has started to rise. We're finding shelter in Krishna's name. And in this stage, there's the devotee is fixed in humility. And this is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina mahanadena kirtaniya sadahare. And then the rocket ship of one's experience of love with Krishna starts to take off. I mean, it's not immediately. Keep in mind, this is like a gentle rising of the sun in the Nishtha stage. Wow, I'm doing great on time. So we completed the one slide in an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause there and see if there's some questions before we go to an exercise. We have 5 minutes for some questions or comments. Yes, Mataji. And if you want to add to it, please feel free. I'd love to have your powerful insights into this. Hemangi Mataji, right there. Oh. I have 50 copies of this that I'll be giving to everyone. So you can take a picture, but I also have physical copies.
Very well put together because we both discussed, like we both have been reading this Japa book. So we exchange our notes. So you sent me this yesterday, and this morning when I was doing Japa, before that I was going through this, and it's really nice, thank you for putting the whole thing together. I wouldn't be able to do such a good job, so thank you so much. You made a statement, you said behind criticism is struggle.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I think where I'm going through with this is that because criticism is what that actually unknowingly takes you into the zone of, aparat, like, committing offenses towards devotees, which is, like Krishna says, I can even forgive somebody who offends me, but not my devotees. So this particular statement of yours really, like this is something I was not able to process. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So persons have needs. We have a bunch of needs that drive us, that drive our inner being and that drive our behavior. And when there's criticism, there's usually behind it, there's an emotion. Generally, that emotion is one of anger, or the emotion may be of spite, or the emotion may be of envy. There's some dark emotion behind criticism. And then behind the emotion are very sweet and innocent needs. And just general like humanness that's there behind that. And so the fact that persons don't recognize their needs, or they don't recognize how to fulfill or take care of that softness within their own hearts that they don't see, they will pick a strategy to say things that are hurtful to others.
Not actually. But
which one? The second one?
The second one is to be critical,
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy. So it is what you're saying. Let me see if I got it. What you're saying is there is this very subtle softness as a need that we have, that we want to exhibit for ourselves or show to ourselves.
Yeah.
But the inability kind of leads to, that frustration kind of leads to like using that as a strategy to criticize somebody when you see something.
I don't know how to handle my own emotions.
Got it. I can relate with that.
And that's the struggle that they're dealing with. So behind criticism is a struggle, and behind struggle is lack of love that they're experiencing with Krishna.
It's nice because you put it very well, because some years ago I recognized about myself, but I couldn't put it in words the way you put it just now. So thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Somebody else had a Rashika Manjari? Ladies first, go ahead.
I have a comment and I have few questions, but I'll ask one and then we'll see. My first comment is my appreciation for you and this incredible gift that Krishna has given you intellectually, but you have connected it with your heart and your devotional process. When you were in the 10th grade and I was in the 8th grade, I don't know if you recollect when you taught me something that was very hard for me in physics. And I had a teacher who never gave a full score to anybody in the history of that school. And after you had taught me, I came back with a full score, and the teacher was unable to even take like a quarter mark off. So at that time, I realized like the strength that you had intellectually to bring so much, because what I was able to present was above and beyond the matter, which is why she couldn't reduce anything. And you taught me for half an hour for, you know, the tests we used to have monthly or whatever. So it was a 1 month amount. So I was going back to that and also appreciating now that, you know, you brought it into your devotional process, and it's not just here, it's here too. You know, it's connecting so much material, so much valuable insight, but from your heart and your experience. So that is my appreciation. And then
I'm embarrassed and super honored. I am just blown away. And I love you very much.
I love you too. And then my questions, I'll ask this first one. And then if there's time, I'll ask more. In the bhajan that Narottam Das Thakur has written, Ebaro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai, there is the phrase, Gangara Parasha Hoile Pashate Pavan. So it is, I'll read the translation. The holy name delivers one who has committed an offense to Lord Hari. But if one commits an offense to you, being the Vaishnava, there is no means of deliverance. When you were expressing about the no taste and the 4 types, you spoke about the aprada offenses, and then you mentioned that the attention to the holy name can help us eradicate those. So I was reflecting that it doesn't take away that offense committed, it takes away the tendency to commit it again, is the attention to the holy name. Like,
yeah. And I wasn't comprehensive with that statement. The comprehensiveness is the 2 things, not just one, but 2 things. To go anartha nivritti has 2 components that are primary. One is attention to the holy name, and the 2 is conscious abstinence from aparad. There has to be that conscious attempt to not offend. And attention to all, both are required. Now one can, anartha nivritti, so you see that broom and bucket right next to it, that's when it starts to happen.
and there should be some attempts to rectify those apradas?
Yes, yes. Yes, and the beauty of the holy name, the beauty of the process of chanting the holy name is, as we approach the thing that you know, we're approaching the absolute truth. That's Krishna. It's like approaching the sun. And when you approach the absolute truth, you've got to be more truthful. You're coming in touch more in reality. So everything about your life becomes more real and authentic, including your relationships with devotees. So if you've hurt someone, you naturally want to go and fix that relationship because it's more real for you now. So as you approach Krishna, you can't help but be burnt away as you approach that sun. So truth, as you approach truth, authenticity becomes more apparent in one's life. Make sense? All right, thank you. I'm aware of time. So, yeah, we'll take one more and then we'll go to an exercise. Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I'm coming here first time, so I'm not as familiar with you. But my question, when we were having this
You're
discussion,
lucky.
we were having the discussion about how we started chanting. But so we happened to we grew up in India, and it was part of life for us. And you kind of mentioned that I chanted 2 weeks the holy name, and then I could quit eating meat. And we were kind of thinking there are lots of, I'm not even able to quit drinking milk. I want to become a vegan, just, and then so my question, it's less curiosity, is that, was it the intensity of the chanting that gave you that much strength? I mean, coming from a different culture to suddenly change such a drastic habit, or was it a grace of the masters and the Krishna that was simply doing the magic?
To analyze mercy is a futile task. And you're asking me to do that. But I'll say this, how mercy acts in each devotee's life and what Krishna wants to teach us is very unique. Very unique. There's some things I struggle with till today, after more than a couple of decades of chanting. Why was that easy and other things not? And this is where we're completely dependent on the Master. The other comment I will make, though, is when I started chanting, it was based on a relationship with a spiritual master. I didn't tell Maharaj this, but every time I told myself, every time I meet Maharaj, I will start increasing my rounds by 2. So the first time I met, not the first time, but the time I started chanting was right after his visit. I started chanting 2 rounds. And then every time I met him after that, I increased by 2 rounds. It was based on the relationship with the spiritual master. My sense of the power of bhakti is not necessarily by the activity itself that one has experienced, but it is enabled by a relationship with a spiritual teacher. When we have that, then the mercy of Krishna flows more easily. So not just taking up chanting, but the sadhu sangha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, you see sadhu sanghas in the beginning. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, sadhu sangha is all the way till the end, till prema. In fact, even in prema, one is deeply desiring sadhu sangha. I'll share something else with you here. You see there's a stage here that says dark night of the soul, right? When we're in a state of despair. Night is already dark. It's already pretty dark. It's pretty painful to go through night. But a dark night where everything is covered, and see where you're going. It is said, better to walk in the dark with a friend than to walk in the light alone. I'll say that again because it's so important. Better to walk in the dark with a friend than to walk in the light alone. And especially when that stage, or when we're dealing with being in the desert, having a friend, a sweet friend, that what are the 3 things? Affectionate, like-minded, and more realized, those 3 things. Having such a person next to us during those dark times is absolutely crucial. So my point being that the grace of the spiritual teacher or teachers is essential. Volunteered. Yeah. Okay, so it's we have 5 minutes. We're going to hand out, if some devotees can help hand out these papers. It includes this, so you have the map with you if you like it. And then behind the map is this Japa journey and some questions for yourself to consider. I'm going to play a little bit of music. I have only 5 minutes left, so take some time to write down 3 things. What have you felt along the journey? What were some challenges you experienced? And then what or who has helped you? The question's on the bottom right. How have... What's that? You have a question? No. Huh? Oh. Oh, sorry. How have you felt along the journey? What were some challenges, and what or who has helped you? So just take some quiet time for yourself, contemplate your journey in Krishna consciousness with Japa. Specifically, this is your Japa journey. How you felt, what have been some challenges, and who or what have helped you. Are the questions clear? We have 50 copies. Any more copies? Done? Okay, sorry. Yeah, 50 Radha Shyam. Anyone wants pen? You have pen? Where do you want? Hare Krishna. I'm a couple of minutes above or over my time, so I wanted to sort of just wrap it up here. And thank you for, I saw a lot of devotees really sincerely trying to work on this. It's beautiful. Thank you for your warmth and presence of being here and trying to learn together. And I want to offer my deep respects to Burijan Prabhu, his Japa book, and to the acharyas who have infused that book with a lot of insight that is just transcendental and powerful. And of course to our spiritual master, who, without whom none of this would actually happen. So thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, and Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai.